When most people think of the internet, this is what comes to mind. A cloud of some kind that uses magic to connect to your devices. But this fuzzy cloud picture doesn't really help us understand how the internet works. So we're going to look at the internet in a much more literal way, following your internet connection from a laptop in your house to its destination and back again. Ultimately, the internet is a wire that's buried in the ground, made of fiber optics or copper. The internet is a wire, and computers can connect to this wire. Through the wires, computers can access information that's held somewhere else. In this example, we're going to imagine that you're at home on your laptop and you want to access a website. Let's say it's TradeMe. The process will start with you turning on your laptop and opening a web browser like Chrome, Firefox, or Edge. Then you type in trademe.co.nz and all sorts of interesting things happen. Your computer's request to open the TradeMe website leaves your computer, and its first stop is the router in your house. You might not be familiar with the word router, but you definitely will have seen a box like this somewhere in your house or office. Your router sends the request on to your internet service provider, which is the company you pay for your internet service. It might be Spark, Vodafone, Orcon, Slingshot, etc. Your internet service provider will pass on the request, and it might go through several other routers on the way to the TradeMe website. TradeMe, like all websites, lives on a server. A server is just another computer, but it's set up specifically to serve you information like web pages, images, or files. Servers don't go through their own internet service provider, they are directly connected to the internet. Once TradeMe receives your request to show you their website, they send the relevant information back to your computer and it displays on your screen. Now, let's take a closer look at all those devices that were involved in this interaction. There's your computer, your router, your internet service provider's router, possibly several other routers along the way, and the server with the website you wanted on it. Each of those devices has a unique address, just like your house has a unique postal address. On the internet, these addresses look something like this. This is called an IP address, which stands for Internet Protocol. IP addresses like this aren't easy to remember, so we remember website addresses like trademe.co.nz. It's much easier. So when you type in www.trademe.co.nz, the routers along the way translate this into an IP address, so they know where to send your request. Your computer has an IP address too. In fact, every single device that connects to the internet has a unique IP address, including all those routers between you and the websites you visit. Let's go back to your request to view the TradeMe website. Imagine your request is a little packet of data with a destination tag on it. Initially, your request is wrapped up in the IP address of your laptop. When it gets to the router in your house, the router adds another layer with its own IP address and sends the request on to your internet service provider. At each step along the way, your request is wrapped up in the IP address of the devices involved, adding layers and layers like it's wrapping up a digital pass the parcel. When your request arrives at TradeMe, the information you wanted is sent back along exactly the same path, with each router only receiving the package and unwrapping a layer, then sending it on to the next IP address. Eventually, it arrives back in your house with just one more layer to go. Your router reads your computer's IP address and sends the information to your laptop. That's how several computers can be connected to the same router in your house, yet the information you're sending and receiving over the internet doesn't get muddled. Your router sends the information to the IP address of the device that requested it. You might be imagining that the packet of information that arrives back contains the whole TradeMe page that you'd requested to see, but that would make for a big packet of data that might clog up the devices along the way and slow everything down. So when you're receiving data over the internet, your computer is actually receiving lots of tiny packets of data. Your computer follows instructions about reassembling them in the right order, so you see everything as it was intended. Let's take a step back and run through this system with a different example. Let's say you're wanting to send an email to your neighbor Tama. You use Gmail, so you use your laptop to view the gmail.com website and you write your email. When you click send, the gmail.com server sends the message to Tama's email provider. Let's say he has an extra.co.nz address. Extra is run by Spark, so gmail.com sends the message to the spark.co.nz server. The next time Tama checks his messages, he goes to the spark.co.nz server, which sends your email to his computer. And now you know, in general terms at least, how the internet works. The next time someone is talking about the internet being a cloud, think back to this video and remember the very tangible wires that are connecting us all up.